I usually try to be very high energy. I try to bring it every single show for each and every single one of you guys. With that all being said, I don't think I've ever been as excited to do a show than I am today because this is absolutely huge. The Tennessee Volunteers just got the news that they've been waiting for a very, very long time. So stick around. I got a lot of great updates to get to in today's program. Before that, though, I got to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. This is your first time here. We're doing a season-long sub battle with our rivals channel at the Alabama Football Report. Right now, through the course of the first 4.5 weeks of the season, they're up, but only 25 subscribers. Not a ton. Easily can catch up with them today. So if you have not subscribed, doing it today, doing it in this show helps us, get that gap a little bit closer between the Alabama Football Report. Hell, help us get on top. I don't want to just catch them. I want to pass them. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that big red sub button. It's free to do so, and it gives you daily videos on your Tennessee Volunteers. So the first of the double dose of great news that we got from an article from Pete Nakos and Chris Lowe from On3. It says, expect Jaxson Moi to be able to play against Mississippi State this upcoming weekend. Hallelujah. Can I get an amen? This is what we've been waiting for, man. It truly, truly is. We've been waiting for this type of news since he had to exit that game against Syracuse with an injury. And it seems like each week, Josh Heupel was being a little bit more communicative on his injury status. We all know he likes to play the cards a little bit closer to the vest. After that Syracuse week, he wasn't saying much. Week after week, he told us a little bit more. Beginning of this week, he said he's trending in the right direction, and now what we hear from On3, expected to play on Saturday against the Bulldogs. More from Pete Nakos. Tennessee defensive tackle Jaxson Moi is expected to be available this weekend against Mississippi State, barring a setback. Sources tell On3's Chris Lowe and I. The former Stanford transfer was viewed as a game-time decision against Georgia, but was held back and skipped UAB so he could be fully healthy for SEC play. And although you lost that game against the Georgia Bulldogs, I'll be honest with you, I think that the coaching staff made the right decision. I think that the medical staff made the right decision. I am all for not rushing a player back and jeopardizing future games in this schedule, and many more at that. Give him some time, let him come back, try to get him back to as close as he can be, 100%, before he gets back in this lineup. Of course, he exited that Syracuse game with an upper body injury, has been not playing in any game since then. And now, once you start getting to the bulk of your SEC schedule, once you get into the next, 5 straight SEC games before you play New Mexico State in November, it's going to be great to have Moi back, right? This is what the defensive line needs. At this point, guys, you just need bodies in the middle. You need depth. You need playmakers. And I think going up against Mississippi State, this is fantastic as well because they run a very similar type offense to Tennessee and to Josh Heupel. Jeff Lebby and Josh Heupel is very similar styles. They like to spread you out wide, even though Josh has been a little bit tighter this year. They like to sling the pill, but at the same time, their identity is found in their ability to run the football. Well, when you got guys in the middle of this defensive line that are pretty dang good, and that is Jaxson Moi, that's going to help you out a ton. We all know that the college level of football, they like to rotate guys in a lot, especially Rodney Garner. They like to limit the snap counts. Well, when you have a ton of guys hurt, the guys that are playing, who originally were depth pieces, those guys have to be starters, and you don't have many guys behind them that you can trust. And I also believe without Jaxson Moi, you saw how much this run defense can struggle. Felt like Georgia was able to run all over the place. Think about that first drive for the Bulldogs coming out of halftime. It felt like they ran out on 10 straight plays and just marched right down the field. Another injury note for the interior of the defensive line. Former 5-star David Hobbs is expected to be back by Arkansas. Another guy who had an injury. This one was later in training camp, not early in the season. He's been dealing with a foot. He's been out for the entirety of this year, and everybody expected this to be the year that David Hobbs kind of took that jump, lived up to the expectations that he had coming in as a 5-star, and now I'm just really excited to see it. He's not going to be the only one coming back for Arkansas, though. Stay tuned to hear what I got to say. Are you hyped up? Are you excited about Moi being back? If you are, if you're just as pumped up as I am, do me one big favor and like today's video. And don't go anywhere, okay? I'm about to tell you about an awesome sponsor of the show. But don't leave, because coming up, it's our biggest injury update probably in channel history. And that sounds dramatic until you realize this channel's only been a thing for about a month and a half. Regardless, don't go anywhere. And if you're not going to go anywhere, go down to the comments section. Go to chatsports.com/UT hoodie. You could get this Orange Vols hoodie for just $22. Look, I love the Vol Shop. It's one of my favorite stores in the world. I loved going there as a student, looking around at all the awesome merch they had. But that's the key word in that phrase, looking around. Rarely bought anything because, as you know, it's very expensive. The good thing is, chatsports.com, you can get that hoodie for just $22. It was $55, $33 off. Yes, Tennessee, prepared me enough to do that quick math. Chatsports.com/UT hoodie. I put that link in the comment section and description of today's video. Jermod McCoy, he is eyeing a very near return date. And I'm not going to lie. The optimist in me always said I want him back after the bye week. But the realist in me was saying, Joey, that is incredibly not likely, given the fact that he tore his ACL, in January of this year? Well, things might be looking towards the optimist side. Tennessee All-American quarterback. This is from Pete Nakos. Jermod McCoy has not played yet this season as he recovers from a torn ACL, which he injured back in January. Arkansas is being targeted as a return date for McCoy. That would give him a chance to get back on the field before Tennessee visits Alabama on October 18th. And we all know that's kind of where he made his name, that interception while covering one Ryan Williams in the Alabama game last year. But come on, baby. Absolutely turn me up. Get me fired up. Jermod McCoy back in possibly 2.5 weeks. Reminder, you play Mississippi State on Saturday, then you got your bye week, then you are playing Arkansas. Your boy's going to be in attendance for that game. I'm absolutely pumped. Jermod McCoy, he might be the best cornerback in football. Many people expected him going into this year to be the best cornerback in football, or one of them. Unfortunately, obviously, like we've talked about before, tore that ACL in January, just doing off-season conditioning. But the fact he's going to be back from the date of ACL tear to the possible date of returning in just 9 months? That's unbelievable. But also, I want to slow down because at the end of the day, I want the right decision to be made. Like I said for Jaxson Moi, I've always been in the camp of don't rush somebody back. Let them come back when they're ready. Let them come back when they're 100%, so that way you have them back for longer. There is nothing worse than someone returning, injuring themselves, and then instead of just waiting one more week, now they're going to be out 3 additional weeks. Okay, I cover the Packers here at Chat Sports as well. Zach Tom, they just dealt with this. He missed a week because he had an oblique injury. He returned this past Sunday against Cleveland, injured it the first play. Now he's going to be out for 2 or 3 additional weeks. All that to say, having Jermod McCoy back in the lineup would be huge. Last year, 31 catches allowed. And reminder, that sounds like a lot. It's a decent bit, but you also got to remind yourself every single week in, week out, he was covering each team's best wide receiver. 386 yards allowed on the year, 2 touchdowns only in 12 games played. He had an overall PFF grade of 87 flat, a coverage grade of 89.6. That was the 18th best among all cornerbacks in college football last season. Now, the good thing is, and we're actually going to dive into this a little bit deeper on Friday, Colton Hood has been phenomenal in Jermod McCoy's absence. 93.6 PFF grade this year. He's the 4th highest rated cornerback in college football. This season in coverage, only 16 times he's been targeted. Only let up 4 receptions, 22 yards. 6 yards after the catch. That's what's so great about Colton Hood, or what has been so great about Colton Hood, is that he's such a great tackler as well. And Gage, you can push this across already. He's such a great tackler as well. And a lot of times that's a big question mark about cornerbacks, especially when they're in the open field with wide receivers recovering. Colton Hood makes you not have that problem. And he's been massive this year because McCoy's been out, Gibson's been out. He has not only stepped up to the challenge, I think he's exceeded every expectation he had going into it. So if you need to hold McCoy out one more week, maybe after Arkansas, maybe have him back by Bama, I don't know. I'm not going to make the final decision. But if you do, I'd still have faith in Colton Hood being the cornerback one on this team. Now, when he gets back, those two together, forget about it. Vibe check. How excited are you? Jermod McCoy is going to be back soon. Scale it for me 1 to 100 in the comment section down below. A couple more injury updates before we get on out of here. One, David Sanders Jr., 5-star in the class of 2025. Offensive tackle, remains day-to-day. This is per On3. He was scratched right before the Syracuse game. Had a very, mysterious injury, as Josh Heupel kind of tends to say over the past couple of weeks. He's been day-to-day or week-to-week pretty much since week 1. We've yet to see him in action. Hopefully he'll be back after the bye week as well. For Ricky Gibson, unfortunately nothing new on him. Okay, I was hoping to go into this article, get an update on McCoy, get an update on Gibson, hopefully kind of begin to expect when are we going to see these two out on the field together at the same time. Unfortunately, we don't think that's going to be anytime soon. When you look at the remaining schedule, you got Mississippi State, right? Then you got a bye. Arkansas, Bama, Kentucky, Oklahoma, another bye, and then the schedule kind of settles down. After that bye week in New Mexico State, ramps right back up at the Swamp week 13, and then wraps up with Vanderbilt at home. Maybe he's back by the Oklahoma game. Again, you got the bye week and New Mexico State right after that game. So you would have pretty much 2 weeks of more rest to give him that you aren't worried about losing any other ball games. That if he's not 100%, I would probably lean towards, letting him sit out a little bit more. But I would not mind to be back at full strength at the cornerback position by the time you're playing Oklahoma at home. Because that's going to be a huge game. And yes, John Mateer is hurt. But if I know anything about Tennessee luck, he's probably going to be back ready to roll by the time the Sooners roll into Neyland Stadium. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. Twitter, @Joey Petersen. Hey, I'm new on TikTok. Get me right there, @Joey_Vols. Of course, my Instagram, same as my Twitter. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you make that change today. YouTube.com/VolsTalk. Daily videos, all 100% free. Not a better reason to sub. So join us today.